and it goes up, and that's the anchor team, and then it goes all the way up. So we train them in core techniques. They're really quick, really fast, like I said, and you only have 2 seconds from the time somebody puts their hands on you to start to defend yourself. Gosh. So 1, 2, and you have 30 seconds or less to actually disable them. We teach disable. We don't teach kick and run away. Because these guys are predators. They're going to chase. And then that just angers them even more. So everything that we teach is a disabling tactic.
So predators, whether they be female, male, whatever, obviously they're probably, some of them are aware of organizations like yours that are teaching these things. And I know that they probably don't care. They're still going, they have that one motive, that one focus in mind, and that's to abduct. But as far as the statistics you were talking about, have you seen over the years an increase in people being able to defend themselves, or is it actually the opposite? What do the statistics look like over the years?
Well, we actually, I had a gal who took one of my classes, and it was interesting. She emailed me like 2 years later, and she's like, I was one of those optimism bias. I just came because somebody wanted me to come with them. But she actually used our techniques. 2 guys tried to drag her into a van, and she dropped, and she took them out, and she locked up on them so fast that they had absolutely no chance in escaping, what she was doing to them. So statistically, we don't really know what the statistics are, but I do know I've had a lot of positive feedback back. I know that girls have come through my class. Even some of my trainers, I ask them, what's the difference between before you took my class and now? And they're
those are good statistics to review.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. They're just like, they are now. I see, I watch, I'm aware, I know what I'm going to do if somebody was to put their hands on me. So one thing that I'd like to kind of go over real quick is a statistic that is really, really scary, is that an average pedophile will molest 260 children before they're caught, if they get caught. So we're dealing with, just like you were talking about, the guy down the street, and that's the problem, is we don't recognize them. So going back to the prevention, educating the parents, educating the kids, and we just kind of go from there.
Yeah, we're going to go into a little brief break and come back, because this is so important. We'll be right back.
You're listening to ChristianLivingRadio.com, where you can hear such amazing ministries such as Blended Families Ministries, Unashamed by Grace, P31 Women, Pastor G, Unbreakable, Live at 5, Straight Talk, and many more to come. Also tune in to our music channel as well, 24-hour access. Be heard all over the world. Click on Get Involved or email us, info@ChristianLivingRadio.com.
We're back right now from the commercial break. We're going to go back and find out more on these predators and what's going on out there in our own communities, in our own neighborhoods, how slick these people are, and how you can help your child avoid it. Joanne, take it over from here.
Thank you. As we were talking, this actually came to me. I'd forgotten about this, but how you ladies were mentioning, sometimes it's people that that it can be something very similar and very sly, you don't even realize. Well, years ago, I had taken my son to a vacation Bible school at a church that I used to go to, and we were really early, and I was going to drop him off, and there was just one young gentleman there, and I thought, gosh, I just don't feel right. Something did not feel right to me. So I said, you know what? I'll just come back later when there's more kids here. I won't drop him off right now. And he kept saying, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'll watch him. Well, I took Clayton with me, left, and like a year or two later in the paper, I remember seeing his picture. He had actually fled the state, but he was going to be arrested for not abduction, but sexual abuse. And he was sexually abusing people in his church. He was like one of the youth pastors or something like that. And God, the Holy Spirit told me, do not leave him. Would anything have happened to him then? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I acted on that little voice that said,
to listen to that
yep,
voice.
do not leave him. And I'm so glad that I did, because it was confirmed. I didn't ever wonder about it later. It was it was actually confirmed because I saw his picture in the paper.
That's like I was telling you about the the gentleman that was abducting his own daughter, and I kept telling my son, I don't want you going in that house. I just got a feeling there's something there. But we were discussing that as well, that to us, that's the Holy Spirit. To the non-Christian, non-believer, you'll get that nudging in your spirit, or you'll just call it a
gut feeling.
A gut feeling. But you need to listen to that gut feeling, because that is God directing you.
This is AC Green. You're listening to Christian Living Radio.
Much more than just Christian radio. It's a lifestyle.
And that is just, like I said, that's the God in us all directing us.
Right. Christian or not, we still all have God in us.
Christian or not, yes. I'm just saying that, because of the different terminologies.
Right. They call it something else.
Yeah. But, we know that is the Holy Spirit, which God promised to leave with us, that comforter. Mm-hmm. And if we tend to tune into that a little bit more, that could help us prevent some of this stuff, and even help our kids to realize, hey, you might get that feeling. You might receive this, and you don't understand where it's coming from, but something isn't right. Follow that. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, ladies, and let you go. But I'm passionate about this, too, because, I've seen it. My friend went through it.
Firsthand.
I had kids at my own school when I was coming up that went through this, and I didn't understand what it was. But I just remember them just being broken.
Yeah. That happened to me too, and I didn't even think about it again till right now. But when I was in grade school, there was we were in second or third grade, and she was my best friend, and she was telling me all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't do anything about it because I didn't know to tell. Mm-hmm. And it's not that she told me to keep quiet, but then years later, we were in like 7th or 8th grade. I think it was 8th grade. On lunch, she would sneak over the fence and go to this guy's house. He lived behind the school. He was a fireman. I remember that. He was a fireman. And they had this relationship going on, but it was basically forced because he had told her, if you tell your parents. And so if I would have been equipped, I could have said something to my parents, but I didn't know what to do. And I think, Carrie, you elaborated on that a little bit earlier as far as just sometimes you're scared and you don't have a voice and you just don't know what you're supposed to say, so you don't say anything.
That's the truth. That's you don't know what to do sometimes, but that's where the enemy would want to keep us, is in that shame and being scared and stuff like that. It's coming out in the open.
That's his tool.
It's the liar. He's the king of lies. And so you need to. It's us talking about it. It's moms talking about stuff like this. It's and it's talking to our kids. So many moms don't want to talk, and dads. Yes, dads. And
Kenyatta talks to his son about, we know that.
Yeah, and it's not being afraid to talk to our kids about that their private parts are theirs, that there are bad guys, and that there are, the more that they know, and that you're praying about it and you're telling them that this in love, they feel prepared, they feel protected, they feel like, because things are going to come up. You don't know what is going to come in their life.
Right. Because we're not with them every second. Well, let's go back to that story that you were talking about, these two, I think it was believed, 2 girls at the Arrowhead Mall. Well, that's here in Arizona. I've been to Arrowhead Mall. I know what that is. How could that possibly happen in broad daylight? Like, what happens with that?
Well, it's like going right back to the fact that it doesn't matter whether it's broad daylight or at nighttime. These guys they groom, they manipulate, they coerce. And I'm going to go back to the grooming really quick. So with any type of a pedophile, say like you were just talking about in the church, these guys will groom the parents, the church, the school, the organization, or whatever, or whoever first, before they groom the children. And the reason that they do that is because they want unrestrained access to that child. And so once they get that grooming done and out of the way and have the trust of the parents, then they go after the kid. The very first order of business for the predator to the child is secrecy.
Right, yes.
They want to tell, a secret. And so that, does that bonding between them. and it just goes everything from there. But it doesn't matter whether it's Arrowhead Mall or your child's best friend's home. It happens. And that's what they need to be prepared for. The parents need to be prepared for it. They need to know, what to look like. So, say if you have a child that, you have somebody in your family or somebody in your circle or out of your circle, and some of the red flags are they're singling out one of your children. They buy them gifts, want to spend more time with them, do the tickling game. We had a guy who was a good friend of ours, and he would come over and go swimming and stuff. And then, it's just that Holy Spirit, triggered. And I went, whoa, wait a minute. I saw him at the pool, and he was having the kids place their hands on his butt and pushed him into the pool. And he was the one spending the time with the kids all the time. He wasn't interacting with the adults. He was always with the kids. Long story short, yes, he ended up being a pedophile. And it affected some of my close friends. And it's pretty scary stuff. So none of us are immune to it.
Right. Well, so to really help parents out there get all the information they can, what is it that we want to tell them as far as you're talking about grooming, and this gentleman that Arrowhead Mall, he was using flattery. Just what do we want to tell parents to watch for, to tell their children if somebody is doing this, just have your that red light, in the back of your head going, wait a minute, a red flag. What do we want to tell the parents out there to be looking for?
Hey, this is AC Green. You're listening to Christian Living Radio.
Much more than just Christian radio. It's a lifestyle.
When they're talking to the kids, they need to be very open and honest with their kids. And that's one of the issues that we run into as parents. Sex is taboo. Predatory behaviors are taboo. And that door has to be kicked wide open. There's a proper way to talk to your child about that. But just like calling their genitals, names, little kid cute names. There's actually something that's going on right now that people aren't even aware of. There are cases, and one specifically that I know about in Oklahoma that just came about a few months ago, where a little girl came to school crying and said, "My daddy ate my cookie," and was crying. And the teacher's like, "Oh, daddy needs to learn how to share." But she kept coming back day after day crying, and they're like, "Oh, there's something wrong." So they called the mother in here. And he was sexually abusing his own daughter. But they could not and would not prosecute him because she could not properly identify her genitalia. So we're not being open and honest. It's like Carrie said. I'm going to turn that over to Carrie. They have to, their private parts are theirs.
Yeah, you need to go through scenarios. So whatever age your child is, it's going to be different scenarios for each, level of child. But like the teens at the mall, I would, if those were my kids, I'd be like, hey, if there's some guys that walk up to you and they're all, like listening to you and, asking you different things and, hey, let's go over here. And help them realize that they're being groomed, possibly.
Yeah, like for me, it'd be like if I've always had told my son, if you don't know someone, we don't even talk to them to begin with. But yeah,
they're going to use the card.
Right.
That's one of their tactics. They're going to use the card. They're going to build the trust. Like, oh, I've got this, studio down the street. I mean, that's like one of their lines. That's like saying, hey, do you want some candy?
Do you want to be a model? Yeah, let's be a model.
There's an energy
I had that
process.
pulled on me when I was like 18.
Girls.
Yeah. He was in Tempe, and he's like said about the headshots. He said, I have a studio, and it was right on Mill Avenue, and he said, I want to take some headshots. And so I drove in my car. I didn't drive with him. He gave me the address because I was a little leery, but he did have a studio. But I ended up not going. I was just like, I'm just not going to go. I just didn't feel right about it. But
especially if you're not with your parents, legitimate places are going to be, your parents are coming with you. You know what I mean? Like it's just
so okay. So just because he had a business card, just because someone has a business card, anybody can get a business card.
Or
made,
if it's
right?
a teen, like bringing them, like the adults use teen boys to bring in teen girls. Or they'll use teen girls to bring in teen girls.
How do they do that? Explain that a little bit more.
They're being
flirting.
They've been chosen. Yeah. They're being manipulated. Those teens are being manipulated by either money or they're scared. They've gotten already involved in it. That they're bringing in. It's a business. And so, like, whenever you think about it, like every 40 seconds, and it's a low stat on that. Like every 40 seconds, a child is abducted, and that guns and drugs can only be sold one time.